What's up, guys? Welcome in on a glorious Sunday. Hope your weekend is doing everything you wanted it to do. I hope it's relaxing. If you had work to do, I hope you've gotten the work done. Today, we're going to look at the Green Bay Packers, another storied franchise in the NFL. They keep getting the quarterback right. I don't know how. They've gotten 3 correct in a row, and this one kind of looks like the first one. Let's find out what they need to do to improve in 2025. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back in. We have got the Green Bay Packers. Coach Matt LaFleur has done a fantastic job guiding this team. Now, I will say, the numbers are staggering. This team, by the numbers, was really good. And I mean really good. Check this out. So I went back and I looked. They were the 5th best offense, and this is even with Jordan Love being injured for the games that he was injured for. Malik Willis, it didn't even look like they missed a step. They beat the Colts handily. Just handily. They beat the Titans like they understood. Matt LaFleur understood what his team was, and outrageous kudos and credit to him. He did a fantastic job with that. Offensively, they were the 5th best offense in the NFL. They averaged 371 yards a game. They were 12th against the in passing with 224 yards a game. And Josh Jacobs, it looks like, made a really smart move. They were the 5th best rushing team at 147 yards a game, and they averaged 27 points a game. This team offensively was really good. So what happened? Well, it wasn't the defense. The defense was 6th best in the league at averaging 315 yards allowed a game. They were 13th against the pass at 215 and 7th against the run at 100 yards a game average on the ground. They allowed 20 points per game. Okay, well, then maybe it was because of turnovers. No. Plus 12. You heard that right. Plus 12 in the turnover differential. They had 17 interceptions, 14 fumble recoveries. They gave away 11 interceptions and 8 fumbles. Absolutely brilliant. So how come they ended up 3rd in the NFC North and 7th in the playoff race? Really, the simple answer is the Minnesota Vikings had a Cinderella year, and the Detroit Lions are the best team in that division. And will be the best team in that division probably still for the next 2 years. As much as I know Packer fans will hope to be able to compete with Detroit, that's really all you can hope right now. The main stars for Detroit are all locked up for another 2 years. David Montgomery's there. Jahmyr Gibbs is there. Penei Sewell is there. Their offensive line is absolutely the best in the NFL. Aiden Hutchinson is coming back. There's plenty of rumors right now that they're going to end up getting one of these other trade targets to be able to go to Detroit. So what do the Packers do? What do the Packers do? Well, they got $50 million in cap space. Now remember, this is also before the new cap jump, before the salary cap jump, because that is not official yet. Everything you hear right now is an estimation. It should jump up $20 million. It could jump up $22 million. I have said I think it's going to jump up 15. The Players Association has consistently wanted a back amount to be able to put kind of in the coffers to be able to continue growing the salary cap year after year at a reasonable size. So my thought is they'll all settle on $15 million, which means the Packers would have $65 million in cap space. It's a lot of cap space. They can do a lot, but what do they have to do? I never thought I would say this, but their receivers are so injury prone. I think you got to just redo your receiver room. And I know Packer fans are going to hate that idea. They're going to call it crazy. If they're not on the field, you don't have them. Christian Watson was a late season bloomer that came out of supposedly nowhere. I liked him in college. But Christian Watson came out of nowhere and now has fallen off the face of the earth because of 2 injuries. Jaden Reed is injured. Wicks is injured. Honestly, health matters in this league. Just ask your division rival, the Lions. Their defense was shattered by injuries. Shattered by injuries. You got to be healthy. The tight ends aren't bad. Kraft isn't bad. Isn't bad at all as the backup tight end. Your tight end room is fine. Okay, you got the young tight ends. Obviously, the running back room is fine. You got Lloyd as the backup. Emmanuel Wilson may or may not be there. Depends on what they do. But you got Josh Jacobs. You've got your quarterback. Well, your quarterback needs a little bit of help. Your quarterback needs the receivers that can make the plays for him. He's got a bomb of an arm. He's really good. But he's very sporadic. He is a lot of Brett Favre. There is a lot of Brett Favre and Jordan Love, which means you get the outrageous plays. The plays that make you go, wow, and then you also get the plays that make you go, ugh. And that happened. It happened in the home game against the Lions. He lost control. And he does that. He throws really bad interceptions a lot. But he can also make those plays and make you go, yep, that's why he's our franchise guy. I like Jordan Love. I've always liked the pick. Always. I always loved the pick. I thought it was a fantastic pick. I'm sorry. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I know they won a Super Bowl. I get that. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. The Packers did him as every bit of right as you could. But your ego was too much. Now, I will say it does go into, and other people have alluded to this, I'm not the first one, it does go into the fact that they don't have an owner. An owner to be able to look at the quarterback, the franchise guy, and go, sit down, shut up, and do your job. We're already paying you a bunch of money. Just do your job. Other organizations have that ability. The Packers don't. Gutekunst has done a fantastic job. They haven't hit on all of their draft picks. I will say that. I think they need a really good draft pick year. They have 7 picks in the draft as of right now. They draft 23rd in the draft. They did lose the opening round. And it wasn't necessarily surprising, but they just lost guys. They just lost guys. they didn't have the firepower to be able to play. They've got to worry about the offensive line again. And honestly, they got to worry about some on defense. Let's take a look at who the free agents are for them. All right, where'd they go? They're there. So they have 19 total free agents. Here they are. Devondre Campbell, Eric Stokes, the corner, A.J. Dillon, the running back, Corey Ballantyne, the corner, Josh Myers, the center, Eric Wilson, the linebacker, the kicker, Brandon McManus. You don't ever like seeing merry-go-rounds with kickers. That is a bad habit to start. But unfortunately, it looks like they may be there. Again, Brandon McManus is a free agent. Andre Dillard, the backup tackle, is a free agent. And nobody else really huge of mentioning. Daniel Whelan, the punter, is also a free agent. And yes, Emmanuel Wilson is a free agent as well. So, it's not like they have a bunch of free agents from the top guys. But here's the thing. They've got to make a move. They have got to make a move. They need a receiver. They need a healthy receiver. Now, obviously, I know you can't predict if an injury is going to happen, and I get that, and they could make a trade for a receiver, and then he gets hurt in game number 3. I understand that fully. I'm not denying any of that whatsoever. But you need a receiver. You need to go get a receiver. The question is, who's going to be willing to give you one? I don't know if you can win the T. Higgins sweepstakes. I really don't. I don't know if they're willing to or not, but T. Higgins has also been injured. So who can you go get? Who can you go get? It's gonna sound crazy. And I get that ahead of time. So if you're thinking this is a crazy idea, you are 100% correct. But I think with the way that everything has played out, okay, with the way that the league has transitioned and teams are starting to really figure out that, oh yeah, listen, if you got a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, you've got to pay them. But if they aren't that, then you don't. I'm going to say go back. I'm going to say to do it. Go get George Pickens from Pittsburgh or Jerry Jeudy from Cleveland. Or, I know it sounds crazy, go get Devontae again. I know. There's a lot of fans that probably wouldn't want Devontae back. George Pickens does come with some, obviously, baggage. We went over that in the Pittsburgh Steelers, snapshot. Jerry Jeudy, though, really performed well last year with Cleveland. He showed he's got big play potential. I think you need to find a receiver that is experienced. This is where you need an experience. It's okay to have young guys for so long. You need somebody that's a veteran on that field. Pickens is young. He doesn't necessarily fit that, but he is going to be available for the right price. Jerry Jeudy you can probably get from Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be in a full rebuild. Devontae Adams is probably going to want out of New York, and I don't know how many people will be jumping to get him, but I think it would work well. I think he could work well. He knows the city. And I think it would actually give them the viability at the receiver position. I don't know if he's really actually had injuries or not. I know he's had a couple of foot injuries. But my legitimate thought is you need him there to be a veteran. And you've got to hope that everybody else can just kind of fall in line. You've got to hope everybody else can fall in line. You got to hope Musgrave stays healthy. You got to hope Kraft stays healthy. Jacobs stays healthy. Health is the name of the game in the NFL. And the Packers seem to be sitting right there just like the Lions were. Just got to hope to be able to be healthy. The defense, they will be able to add through the draft. The offensive line, I do believe their 23rd pick does need to go offensive line if they can. If all of them are off the board, I'd trade back, get some picks. But I would definitely make that move. I would get one of those 3 receivers. I think Jerry Jeudy actually works well in Green Bay with Jordan Love. Look what he did with Jameis Winston. Just look at what he did with Jameis Winston. He can still play, and he can play at a very high level. I think he would be a great fit in Green Bay with Jordan Love. Jaden Reed running around the back. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And that's what I would do. You need a veteran. There needs to be that guy that can just go, all right, guys, let's calm down a second. That offense is so young. There's nobody that can really stand there in that huddle and just go, hey, shush. We're good. Take a deep breath. Calm down. I think the veteran receiver is the same for Jordan Love. I think the veteran receiver on the field can look at Jordan and go, hey, you airmailed me by 10 yards and I was open. Calm down. I think they need a veteran. That is my take. I think they need a veteran receiver. Will they go after one? I don't know. They're going to have, $60+ million in cap space. Go get one. Get this team ready, because my prediction is they're going to be second in the NFC North next year. And the Vikings are going to be the team that steps back. We'll get to their snapshot later in this week. I do think they take a step back. And, we'll see what happens. But I really believe they need a veteran receiver. That's what I'm sticking on. Defensively, draft your defensive players in the draft. This draft can fix that defense the rest of the way. I would trade Jair Alexander at this point. I wouldn't let him cost you any more money or potentially cost you games because he thinks he belongs on the field to do coin flips just because he, lived there in Carolina and then had the graciousness of the referee save them from losing a chance to ever receive a opening kickoff. I think you get him out of the building, but that's not something that's crazy. That's something that's going to be thrown around. Yesterday, while I was live and doing the Rams snapshot, Stafford has been given permission to talk to teams to request a trade. And these dominoes are going to fall, and it's going to get really interesting, guys. It is the 23rd of February. We are 5 days. We got 5 days left in February, and then, we're sitting 15 days away from the tampering period opening up. Just think about that. We're, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the league year opens. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. I love the team. I love the organization. I love what the Packers have been. Always been a Packer fan. I rooted for them against the Patriots. That's one of the first Super Bowls I watched. Reggie White destroying the Patriots offensive line. I had a bet with my uncle that I lost because I picked them to beat John Elway's Broncos. I grew up watching the Packers because until the Colts were good, the Packers were the team that was on TV here in Indianapolis. So I do. I love the Packers. My family is split. My family lives just south of Chicago and then also lives up in Milwaukee. So when they get together, it's Packers versus Bears. I get the Packers tradition. I get the fan base. I lived up in Minnesota. I got the rivalry when I was up there. Listen, I still love the Packers. They are a cornerstone team in the NFL, and it's Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that's what makes the NFL special. That is what makes the NFL special. All right, so I said I was going to go over a couple things at the end of the podcast yesterday that I had been asked. So we're going to go over this real fast. Don't want to spend too much time on it as we're sitting right, just around the 20-minute mark. So I've been asked, why is it Sports Talk with Hawk? Why don't I use my real name in what I do and everything else? Well, here is the simple reason why. My nickname has been Black Hawk, or Hawk for short, for a very long time. And we are talking about a very long time going back to 2003. 2003, 2004. I actually have the picture. I found it. It rolled around at the end of last year in October when my grandfather took my brother and I to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And every kid normally picks his own call sign when they go to a place and they're looking at fighter pilots. And, I remember Top Gun with Maverick and Goose, at that time. And I didn't pick my own call sign. My grandfather did, who meant a lot to me. And my grandfather looked at me and said, "You are Hawk." And I had to, I wanted to lengthen it, so I was like, what about Black Hawk? Because of, Black Hawk helicopters, and, it was a cool name. So I forevermore became Black Hawk, and Hawk for short. There are a lot of people that know me as Hawk. That's what I am called. And it means a lot to me. It's not just a nickname that I came up with because it wasn't me. My grandfather gave it to me for a purpose. I won't bore you with the story because he and I had a conversation over it because I asked him why that's what he named me. But it means something. It's what I represented to him and what I would be able to do in my life. He passed away in 2016 after the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. He was a lifelong diehard Cubs fan. And they won the World Series, and he passed away a little over a month later. So that is why it is Sports Talk with Hawk, and that's why that's what it will stay, because that is who I am. And it means a lot to me. It's not just a nickname. People ask, what's your real name? And I go, Hawk. I am Hawk. I have been Hawk for over 20 years now. That is what I have done. I answered my phone, my first phone. I answered it and I said, Hawk here. That's what I said, Hawk here. I answered that phone. And my mother even answered the phone when I was driving. She'd go, Hawk's phone, secretary speaking. It's what I am. So it does mean a lot to me. That's why a couple people had asked, so figured I'd throw that out there. It is Sunday afternoon. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a solid start to the work week tomorrow. I know none of us like to think about it. Get back to the old grind. And I will tomorrow be going over the Houston Texans, another young team that I really, really love. That's in a lot of the same position that the Packers are. But until then, make sure to subscribe if you would, please. Like the podcast. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday evening with family, friends, and loved ones. Until tomorrow for Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great evening.